corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. This is your post-game reaction episode from the Bleacher Report crew, your Chief Concerns crew on Bleacher Report. I'm Marcus Dash. That's my brother right there, Teja Dash, and former Chiefs tight end, 11-year veteran Chiefs tight end Justyn Dunn will be joining us shortly to discuss the takeaways from this preseason, week 2 of preseason, another dress rehearsal for the Lions and the Chiefs. Obviously, a lot of flashy things going on in this game. Chiefs finally got to see their new toy, their first-round pick, Xavier Worthy, fastest 40-yard dasher of all time. Get to see him make some splash plays in this one, which I'm sure it's getting to be fantasy draft season, so I'm sure a lot of people who drafted him were pondering drafting him. Got a lot to see in this one tonight from the new toy. And obviously, of course, Patrick Mahomes behind the back pass, making things look effortless. I mean, he is one of one. And I, for one, got to say that I'm happy that Patrick Mahomes is my starting quarterback and not Ian Book, based on the way that fourth quarter looked. But yeah, we were very lucky in Chiefs game to have a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Tasia, what did you think of some of the Xavier Worthy stuff, the Patrick Mahomes behind the back stuff? What did you think of all that?
It's funny that I didn't even I was writing notes on what I liked, takeaways and stuff like that from the game, and I didn't even include the behind the back. That's how accustomed to seeing Mahomes' crazy plays and just improvising that we've come to. I don't even notice. I notice it, but I don't even I'm taking it for granted. I have to admit, all of his just amazing plays, and it's it's just him doing him. It's just, that's another play. I think I was a kid. I was very, very young. I wasn't an active viewer in the NBA when the Showtime Lakers were, in their prime. But I'd imagine this is like watching prime Magic Johnson, right? This is watching a new, behind the back pass, and everyone appreciated it, but you got used to it, right? So we're just used to the, amazing plays that Mahomes gives us.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it was funny with the whole Patrick Mahomes behind the back pass. During the game, they did an interview with him, and Mahomes said Travis didn't run the right route he was supposed to run. I was mad. I was pissed off at Travis. Out of spite, I threw behind the back pass, but now it's going to be a highlight. And he said he forgot that he even did it. He said it's one of those things you can't plan to do it. It's just got to happen organically. So I think sometimes those are the best things when they do happen organically, not a planned, oh, this is going to be the behind the back pass play. So and plus, the way he threw that pass, I don't know how you could throw that pass like sidearm or a normal as a normal pass. I don't think he could have done that way. It would have been awkward. It would have been harder to do that than probably. Well, not harder. I mean, it's behind the back pass. Now that's why you don't see them often in games. But he makes it look effortless.
Even that we were critiquing when we watched. We're the release point was pretty low on that behind the back pass. It's the first time someone's ever done that in a game before, and that's what again. That's the standard for his play, right? You see that and you're no, Patrick, you need to get that, you need to get the release point up a little higher on that behind the back first time ever pass. Let's that was an 8, but let's make it a 10,
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously the Chiefs lose the game at the end, a buzzer beater field goal by the Lions. So, I mean, whatever. Preseason's week 2 of preseason. I don't really, no one's checking the wins, losses in these games. I think it's just more about seeing who we got, kind of depth we have, how certain guys are playing, being first-time starters, or guys just competing for spots. So that's pretty much what preseason's all about. And if JD comes on tonight, then he'll definitely talk about what he saw as far as guys who, are on the bubble and they need it, and some guys who aren't. And, we talk about Kadarius Toney. We'll talk about a guy who's in the bubble. Kadarius Toney, who we've Chief fans have talked about ad nauseum for the last few years, but since last year to now, it's kind of a 360. The guy's gone, or 180, I would say. Guy's gone from being number one receiver to now he's playing in the late third quarter of a preseason game. A guy who first play out there had 2 penalties on him for covering up Irv Smith Jr. And then there was another, and I think a hold or something there. Yeah, I think it was a holding on the play as well. So not where you want to be if you're Kadarius Toney, your first preseason game, playing till the third quarter, playing with the wide receiver 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. I mean, I know JD and I have talked about this, but do you think it's close to the end for Kadarius Toney? I think this might be the last of him in a Chiefs uniform in these next 2 games here.
Man, if there's one thing that's helping him, it's the Hollywood Brown injury. Not that he's like a perfect replacement for Hollywood because it's not his game, but if we're a team worried about depth, maybe that could help him. But it seems like a steep climb for him to make the roster at this point. Because how many receivers do you see us keeping?
I think last year we kept 7, I believe. So I would probably think with the injuries, I would probably say 6 or 7. Yeah.
Okay, so 7. So Rice, Worthy, Brown, Watson is going to make it. And let's go to the last 3s where it gets dicey, right? So got a lot of Ross lovers out there. Remigio, another option. Hardman, I just think we'll make it. Tony, Sky Moore. So there's going to be a couple guys that are cut there that we're going to be, pretty surprised about. And I don't think anyone at this point would be shocked if Tony didn't make the roster, though.
Yeah, between KT and Sky Moore, of those 2 guys who came up clutch in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, those 2 guys have faced a lot of scrutiny from fans. Sky Moore never reaching the potential of what he could have been as a second-round pick, and a lot of people want him gone, just a new scenery kind of deal. And then you have KT, who never reached the potential that we thought he was going to be. He showed flashes of it with New York, showed flashes of it with us. It just never, for whatever reason, just hasn't really clicked at all, which is
injuries hurts that a lot too. I mean, we can't keep blaming it on that. But it just slows. They weren't even major injuries to the point where he's out for like a whole entire year, like, just a surgery needed. He just had a lot of injuries that slowed down his progress. And he can never like catch on and be like healthy long enough to really be, I guess just a part of the team and a core member of the receiving core, It's too bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about a core member of the receiving core. First round pick, which I mentioned in the beginning, Xavier Worthy. And we'll talk about the 2 plays. He obviously had that bomb in the beginning of the game with Mahomes, and then he caught a 20, 30-yard catch for a touchdown with Carson Wentz.
Yep.
But I think the big thing is for me, what I noticed, they want to get on the ball. They didn't get on the ball at all last week after the first drive. But he comes out here, looked phenomenal today. And I think the big key for me is obviously he caught a big, was it a corner route with Mahomes, about a 45-yard one. And then he caught a post route, which post was amazing. Him, kind of doing a little shimmy and then like taking off to the angle. He was wide open, but his speed got him wide open, which is kind of the reason why we drafted him, being a 4.2, 140. But 3rd and long on both of those plays. 3rd and long. I mean, we're talking about 3rd and longs are huge. And you got that both catches were on 3rd and long, 3rd and 10 plus, I believe. So like, I love that. I mean, a team that, kind of suffered from the third and not really converting a lot of 3rd downs last year in the regular season. Having a guy like that's going to make life a little easier for Pat and the offense. What did you make of Xavier Worthy? And also, they used him in the backfield too. They're kind of using him all over the place, which I love seeing that. What did you make of Xavier Worthy and his big day today?
I was going to say, shout out to Buffalo. Thanks for the pick. He just showed why he was a first rounder. I'm not going to get overly excited and say like, he was already completely worth it, but worthy it. But I'm really excited, especially because we lost Hollywood. It just seems like he's a perfect, in the meantime, replacement. And when Hollywood comes back, you have like just two really hard to cover guys out there who have crazy speed. He looked great. He looked like a vet, actually. Looked pretty polished out there. I just think we have, in general, really good depth of receiver. Finally. I mean, we were talking about the problem earlier. You know, we're going to be, a lot of people are going to be upset. Multiple guys are going to get cut because the top end is so good. And then we have some good mid guys. And I think with Worthy and Hollywood and Rice, we're in really good hands in the top, pun intended, the top three of our receivers. And Worthy he looked the part, man. I'm really excited. I think he's going to have, I know his over-unders in Vegas are pretty high. I think he's going to nail all those and then some.
Bold. I thought his numbers were really high as far as like just kind of maybe Vegas kind of counting too much of what Rashee Rice did last year. Two different types of receivers, but I thought maybe Vegas is kind of adjusting those numbers, rookie numbers for Xavier Worthy because of how good of a year Rashee Rice had, and I think Vegas got crushed on the Rashee Rice numbers last year, so I thought they kind of automatically adjusted to try to compensate for what they lost with Rashee Rice last year. So I thought Xavier Worthy's over-unders for the season are pretty high.
True, but you got to remember, this year with Worthy, we also have Rice. Rice, it was a bunch of guys last year receiver. We had, two guys that are on the bubble to make the roster this year were our number like 1 and 2s at this point with Tony and Sky Moore. So Rice really came into an opportunity where, in most cases on like a deep receiving core, he probably wouldn't have had those stats, but he had the opportunity and it was just there and he took it and ran with it. Worthy's got to battle with a lot of guys for balls. Well, not so much anymore with Hollywood going down, but to start the season off with Hollywood. So them giving him those numbers and don't forget Kelsey, with all the options we have is pretty impressive. They obviously think he's going to have a really good year. I just think we're going to throw a ton more. I think we're just going to be a lot more effective and efficient throwing the ball. I was trying to find out. I want to see if they updated his stats after Hollywood's injuries. I know Kelsey's went up, I think, 50 yards in his over-under. I don't think they still don't have Rice listed because they don't know if it's a situation. They don't want to get screwed over. But I was trying to see. I couldn't find out Worthy's, but
I'll say this. Going to the other pass catcher, Rashee Rice, it's looking like he's becoming they're kind of expanding his route tree a little bit. Last year, they did a lot of hitches and a lot of quick screens with him. Looks like they're going from the quick screen game with Rashee Rice and just going all hitches with him because, I think it was like a couple, like 3 routes in a row was hitch. And he made some, he's going to have, what I saw today kind of translates to the regular season. We might see him have a close to like a 90 to 100 catch kind of year, just based if he plays all season, he's not suspended. And if they utilize him like the way they showcased him today, I think we're looking at like a 90 catch to 100 catch kind of season for Rashee Rice. I mean, it looked like a young Keenan Allen out there with the way they were kind of using him today.
I think Rice is going to have a monster season. And that's not just because of Brown. He's kind of like if you think about it right now, amongst our top 3, him and Mahomes know each other the best out of those guys. Even if let's say Worthy is an incredible talent, maybe he's more talented than a Rice, but just dude, Rice and Mahomes are on the same page. He's a yak monster too. So I just think he's gonna kill it this year. I think he's our yak specialist. I think he's a guy you can just throw so many just short routes, just get the ball in his hands and watch him go. And look at the way he finished last year too, from against against Vegas on 10 catches, 8 catches, 7 catches, 9 catches, 6 catches, 5 catches. In the playoffs, 8, 4, 8, 6. That was, I think it's just going to continue on. If that was a whole game, he'd have like 11 catches this game. And I think Rice is going to have a monster year, man. I'm so excited about Rice.
Yeah,
I really hope he doesn't get suspended. But they're saying he probably won't because it's already pretty late into the process. But
from what I've read, it seems like his suspension, if it does come, it'll be next year. That's what I've read.
Yeah.
And Mike Florio and PFT, if they haven't really been talking about it that much since it went on this offseason. But nonetheless, moving on to another guy who kind of stole the show last week during preseason was Carson Steele, who looked phenomenal. And it looks like he's already leapfrogged Deneric Prince as RB3. And it looks like with CDH being out tonight, it looks like we can make the argument that he's in the RB2 conversation right now behind Pacheco. And quite frankly, you got to look. I mean, he looked good. I mean, only 3 carries for 8 yards. Not much you can do with 3 carries. But he looked good playing special teams, running the ball in the backfield, catching the ball in the backfield. Yeah, I don't think he did much with his receptions. But, I mean, yeah, he caught the ball nonetheless. And then his nice kick return, by like 30-yard kick return. So I mean, he looked great. I mean, it was a great balance. It was a great. Obviously, he didn't score a touchdown, and he didn't flash like he did last week. But it was consistent enough where like they played him only with the ones offensively, and that was pretty much it. You didn't see him again. He got the whole second drive with Mahomes. He was the guy in the backfield. They don't need to see Pacheco. They know what Pacheco can do. They put him in with him on that entire drive. They drove all the way down there. They went to kick another field goal, which. I'm not going to. I know some people were already getting scared about our red zone woes in the preseason, but like, it's come on, 3 total drives with Pat, and all 3 went up in points, so it's pretty good. But I like Carson Steele. I like what I saw second week. I think we're looking at a guy who could potentially be the RB2 behind Isaiah Pacheco. So Carson Steele, what are your thoughts on week 2 of the Carson Steele sweepstakes?
I think it's crazy how Steele's just come out of nowhere, and now it's already like almost a foregone conclusion that he's at least our number 3 back. Did he even play? He didn't play at all the second half, did he? I mean, like I think the most telling story from Carson Steele's second preseason game is how little he played. Like that's reserved for guys that are already making the team. Like he pretty much had the playing time of one, right? I mean, like, and I like how they're trying to get him in different spots to see how he can do. He just seems like he's just so solid. He's kind of like the running back, our Watson of our running backs. He just makes a really good play. He's not like, it's not the flashiest. I just feel like he makes the right football play when he's out there. Like didn't do east and west. They prided them on going north and south on the kickoff, 36 yards. He seems to make the right reads when he runs. He had one major negative catching the ball. I don't know how much of that was his fault. His other catches for 6 yards. But in general, he just seems to make the right play when he's out there. I feel like talk about a guy who looks like a vet already. He looks like he's like a vet out there. Just looks really confident, looks really poised. And yeah, I think you're looking at, our number 3 running back, and with injuries that might happen to Pacheco or, CH along the way, he's going to get some decent playing time this season.
Yeah, the fact that's good. That's a good point. The fact that he played so little outside of with the Mahomes and them, I think that does tell you a lot. And also too, I know Deneric Prince had a good game. He had like a long 20-something yard run, so that's pretty much where he got most of his yards. But I'm not knocking him for that. 7 carries, 47 yards, solid game. I think that the thing is
41-yard run.
It was a 41-yard run.
Yeah.
Oh man,
so 6 for 6 on the other.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
It was a nice run.
It was a nice run. The blocking was great on that. Justyn Ross had a nice block on the edge on that. That was nice. And the whole draw up of the play was nice. Prince has already gotten reps with the ones offense last year, where he got some playing time with the ones offense. Never really looked anything. Never really did much. That's why Michael P. Ryan was able to come in preseason, look good, and make the team. And Prince was on the practice squad. We've kind of seen this story with Prince, where I mean, this is probably one of his best games he had, but it was his longest run he's had in preseason, like going back to last year and this year. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume already that Steele is the RB3. Now, talk about RB2, and we say this all the time on the show. You can't make the club when you're in the tub. I'm not saying CH is going to be a practice squad guy or cut. I don't think so. He'll be on the team. But we're talking about serious reps, rotation for reps during the season. I'll tell you what, Carson Steele mimics more of a Pacheco kind of runner versus what CEH is doing. And I think CEH may have more of a Jet McKinnon kind of role than than what we've seen in years past. So CH may be utilized more the way he was utilized at LSU, versus what it's being versus what we've seen in the NFL so far. And Carson Steele, maybe more of that guy to kind of spell Pacheco on those hard yardage.
And he's kind of a middle too, because he, even though he has a similar running style to Pacheco, as far as like tough, hard running, he's a way more polished pass catcher than Pacheco was coming out of school. So, I mean, so he's kind of a combination of the both of them, which is what we've been looking for the past few years. A guy who can kind of do what both of them, do.
Yeah, I loved what we saw from Carson Steele. I thought that was a nice second week of seeing him, especially with the ones this time around. So I thought good stuff by him. Moving on, I wanted to talk about gosh, I'm trying to read my notes here. It's like chicken scratch. Defensively, things stood out to me. First few drives from the defense. Mike Dana and Karlaftis, really great pressure. Again, I'm not seeing FAU. And I saw a tweet out there that said FAU, who was a first round pick last year. The guys need time to develop, but FAU does not look like he stands out. He doesn't look like a first round pick amongst playing with a bunch of fourth round guys, third day guys, UDFA type guys. There's really no, you can't tell he's a first round pick. And I do see that. I didn't think he was going to be as raw as he's seeming to be coming into the NFL. I thought he was going to be more of a right away. You can rotate him in with the pass rushers and look great. It seems like he's more of a project than I thought he was supposed to be, which I'm kind of surprised by. So yeah, what do you make of what you saw from the D line? What do you make of what you saw from FAU?
It's funny. You're right. He was supposed to be more of like a polished a D lineman, like a high floor D lineman, maybe never being a stud, but a pretty good player who had some trouble tracking the running back. That was one of his like downfalls, right? But yeah, that's a problem, right? Like it says, it's the tale of two players. Like Steele didn't even play with the second unit for the most part. FAU doesn't stand out from the second unit or the third. I mean, at this point, it should be obvious that you're a guy who should be playing with the ones when you're not playing with the ones. And it's not good that that's not the case with him. So it is worrisome because we're going to need him to fill in for Amenahu and it's tough, man, because this is the time he needs to be stepping up. We can't have him developing in the season. We need we're a win now team. We need production. So I don't know if they're going to be looking outside of the building to try to maybe get someone else, or if they still think they can make something out of him. We'll see. Not giving up on him yet by any means. But we know we have studs in Dana. We know we have stud in Karlaftis. I am worried about FAU at this point, but we have a good coaching staff. Hopefully we can keep coaching him up to get there. In general, some rough tackling from our defense today. A lot of missed tackles. And in general, Spags readjusting for the Lions exploding the cover too. I mean, countless times I was waiting for it, right? Like I'm just hoping it's and Green called it out too. They just killed us in the middle. I'm hoping that's just preseason, just him being like, it's okay. Because we never know what the coaches are thinking, right? They could just want to see how certain guys do in situations. Not to say he's letting them drive against us, but you are out there to see how guys step up in certain roles, see how they would do. So I don't know what they're thinking, but I'm pretty sure if this was a regular season game, he would have adjusted by then. But yeah, definitely some things that I didn't like from the defensive side, and just in general outside of the D line too.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks in a row that we were kind of exploited in the middle of the field, like the underneath stuff, the angle routes by running backs. I mean, they kind of tore us to shreds with the angle route stuff. And that was also last week too with Jacksonville. I think most notably was against was Etienne or Bigsby who did an angle route right on Tranquil, and Tranquil looked lost trying to cover that. But yeah, I mean, I think like offense and defense too. I think that we're not trying to show much We're being very vanilla with our coverages and our packages and whatnot. So I'm not going to be, I'm not scared that Cam Jones can't tackle in the middle of the field unless we get, have banged up injuries all throughout our middle linebackers and stuff. So, yeah, don't like seeing it. I hate losses even in preseason, but like whatever. It's an exhibition game. It's not even like, doesn't matter.
As far as the result goes, I mean, in general, though, they ran, they had 342 yards passing. That's a lot. 459 total yards. I wonder what the total plays were. 74 to 56. So if you wanted your defense to get some extra reps, you got it today. 74 plays, it's a lot.
Yeah. I think we won the turnover battle, so that's good. And we got some takeaways. I know that's over the last 2 years, the takeaway turnover differential hasn't gone in our favor, but it looks like we had some today, so that's good. That's a step in the right direction, I would say, coming off with some loose balls. I'm going to go to the training camp and all in the training camp storylines, preseason storylines. So Justyn Ross, a guy that a lot of people have been following the last 2 years, stand out at Clemson, made a few nice plays last week, one that was called back, and then one that was a nice jump on the sideline, looked great. This week, he missed a few blocks out there. He made a nice block on Cornell Powell's long touchdown reception. So congratulations, Cornell Powell, looking good, making the most of his reps. But Justyn Ross had a nice
got some juice.
Yeah. Cornell Powell's been on the team for a while, and maybe might be a guy that no one's talking about who makes the squad. A good special teamer. Justyn Ross had a nice catch at the beginning of the game from Carson Wentz. Got 1 foot. It was a nice sideline route. Caught it. Couldn't get the second foot down in bounds, but it was a nice extension. Nice, great catch. Nico Remigio didn't really flash offensively today. Special teams wise, he had a nice return later in the game. I think it was a punt return that he had later in the game. But it seems like they're kind of rotating everybody kick return. So it's not really, we don't know they're giving me a return man. They kind of rotated a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Sky Moore looked great at kick return. He had a 40-yard kick return of some sort, 2 long ones. So get Sky Moore out there trying to utilize all of our guys. So excited about that. And then LRZ, Rees-Zammit from Wells, the rugby player. Didn't really see him much offensively. I know that was he struggled a little bit, the pass blocking. And of course, we knew it was going to be a struggle for him, first time playing football. And we see him doing a lot of kickoffs today. So really utilizing his special team strength, him being able to tackle and be able to kick the ball. He kicked the ball much better than he did last week. And quite frankly, with the way we're paying Butker right now, how much we are, I don't want Butker playing kickoff. So if they were to keep LRZ to be the special teams kickoff guy, I would love it. I don't know where we're going to cut from someplace else, but we're going to have shave down 53 somewhere. I don't know where that's going to be, but to save our the richest kicker in the league in Harrison Butker, to put LRZ at that kicking spot, and if he kicked like the way he did today, gives us another 11th guy to go down there and make a tackle. I'm all for having LRZ on the team being our place kicker as far as being our kickoff guy. What do you make of Justyn Ross, Remigio, the return game, and also the kickoff specials in LRZ, Tej?
Maybe make a new position for him, a kicking specialist or something, like kickoff specialist. There you go. So a guy who kicks off and just tackles and just doesn't do anything else, right? A 54 man, but he can only do that. You can only add the 54th guy if he is kickoff and then like a specialist on special teams for that. They might have to do that once kickers start dropping like flies from getting injured by getting like mauled on the kicking game. I thought it was Ross didn't stand out. I mean, he had that almost catch, but he was tied for first half snaps with the receivers, the third overall. Worthy 18, Rice 17, and then him and Watson with that 16. So that's a good sign for him, especially when you look at Moore getting less, Harmon getting half, and Tony only getting 6. Remigio looked good at both punt and kick returning, which was nice. So if a guy who can possibly do both, they're trying to save roster space, that could be pretty good. He had a 42-yard punt return, and he had a 31-yard kick return. So he looked good at doing both. Also, if they want to save roster space, your number 3 running back, Steele, might be an option as the second guy because kick returns are going to be 2 of them now, right? Because then the kick's so short, you need 2 guys back there to field these. So You're not going to have 2 kickoff specialists that only do that. So they're going to have to come from other places on the field, right? So you're going to need your number 4, number 5 receiver taking kickoffs. You're going to need your number 3 running back taking kickoffs. If one of them can also be your punt returner, even better. So I that's the way Remigio is going to be able to make it. Luckily, Steele's got the 3rd running back, bringing it in to have that job. So if he gets the kickoff, it's also an added bonus. But I mean, not much from Ross, unfortunately, for all the Ross truthers out there. But another game to show what he's got, and again, it's a good sign that he is tied for 3rd in snaps for receivers in the first half.
100%. Yeah, that's the one thing I'm hanging on to, the fact that he had so many reps and snaps today. So yeah, a lot to like from this game. A lot to like. I mean, there's nothing that you can say, oh man. I mean, I think the only, also Lucas Niang playing right tackle.
That was gonna be my last note, by the way. Was I hope Taylor's fine. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for everyone who was riding, who's dogging Juwan Taylor. Now you see why you pay Juwan Taylor, and then why you move on from guys like Lucas Niang. So hopefully that shoulder injury from Juwan Taylor is not that serious, because I'd like to have Juwan Taylor back ASAP. So, but guys, that'll do it for us on our post-game reaction show for week 2 of preseason. We'll be back on here Thursday night, right after the Bears and Chiefs game. So we'll get a little Caleb Williams, maybe Caleb Williams versus Patrick Mahomes game. So
hopefully
that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see maybe some, behind it. We had behind the back throw from Mahomes today. We had Caleb Williams doing some Mahomes-esque things in that Chicago game. So maybe we'll see some more of that magic when they face off Thursday night. So that'll be really fun. And that's in Kansas City as well. So we cap off preseason in Kansas City. And so we'll be here, I think, around 11 o'clock, 11:30 Thursday night, right on here. But of course, Chief Concerns, you can catch me and JD Monday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be also back on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, and you can find that on anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, all that good stuff. So, yeah. So hope you guys enjoy the show, and we will see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. See you, Tej.
Later on.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.